Welcome aboard, cinephiles. I'm Mason. Let's watch fantasy movie. Outside the Wire. A fierce struggle breaks out in Eastern Europe in 2036. The US military acts as a peacekeeping force stationed in this lawless territory. In order to eliminate the mysterious warlord hiding behind the scenes during the war, Victor, the US military not only puts combat robots into the battlefield. Experienced ground combat troops were also dispatched in a special operation, HAP, as a drone pilot. Actually ignored the commander's order, controlled a drone, and launched a missile. Although his move saved most people and destroyed the enemy's armored weapons, it resulted into US soldiers who had no time to evacuate died. So, after a trial by the Military Ethics Committee, then HAP was sent to Camp Nathaniel. HAP's new superior, Captain Leo. There is a kind of wisdom and humor that is different from traditional soldiers. Before HAP could ask, Leo took the initiative to explain his situation and expressed the current goal is to eliminate the warlord Victor. It turned out that, according to a tip from an informant, war-mad Victor attempts to remove nuclear bombs previously deployed by Russia. The Hand of Death takes it for himself, in order to prevent these nuclear weapons from entering the battlefield. Leo hopes that HAP can complete the mission with him before that. Leo will also send a batch of vaccines transported to a ghetto 20 kilometers away from the fence, in exchange for information about Victor and HAP, who had just arrived at the military camp. Haven't had time to rest yet, need to start again. In addition, HAP was shocked to discover that Leo, it turns out to be a product based on 4th generation biotechnology, and a fully autonomous cyborg specially developed for war. His existence is the military's top secret. Only HAP and the colonel in the military camp knew about this, and because of the emergency, everyone with the vaccine set off immediately. But when passing by the dilapidated slums, they found soldiers escorting supplies, already sacrificed because of preview. All supplies were also distributed to civilians by the militia. But after making preparations for defense, Leo, who was in charge of the command, asked everyone to put down their weapons. He himself took off his equipment and walked towards the other party with a sincere face. Leave here for safety. Leo reached an agreement with the other party and take advantage of the convenience of military material exchange. But the group didn't have time to leave yet. Armed men, hiding in tall buildings on both sides, launched an attack on them. Seeing that the trapped military vehicle cannot move, Leo, who acted decisively, could only take HAP with him to break out quickly after crossing the desolate grassland. The two eventually joined the resistance, a dedicated refugee shelter, but when handing over the vaccine, the two were attacked by the enemy. And with his agile skills, he reasoned to shoot down the sniper with one shot, but no matter how he pressed, none of the enemies wanted reveal any information about Victor. So, the reason was to hand over the sniper to the rebels. And the scene where the enemy was beaten to death made HAP realize the cruelty of war. During subsequent transfers, Leo affirmed HAP's previous approach and explained to him the importance of breaking the rules. Then the two of them came to the orphanage, met the person in charge, Sophia. According to the previous agreement, Sophia revealed the information he knew. It turns out that Victor wants to obtain and use nuclear weapons. You must get one after the end of the Cold War, high-level code that can be archived. And this code stolen by agents nowadays, hidden in a little-known vault, to convince Sophia to provide clues. Leo bribed his bride, Sophie, with a large sum of money. Yates took them to the target location. Leo also quickly fought with the opponent after loving each other deeply. He pressed for the location of the code and this traitor, like Victor, who sells arms. Then he was shot in the head by Sophia. After parting with Sophia, the two of them quickly moved towards the location of the vault, and Hap, who suggested that Leo ask for support. Only then did I know he is the person in charge of this mission. It turns out that the military wanted to prevent Leo from making decisions without authorization, so I chose Hapu, who can make calm judgments, to monitor from the sidelines. But what left Hap speechless was he was kept in the dark and was being persuaded by Leo, even unknowingly, supported his decision, and in order to prevent being beaten by Victor, purchased robots discovered. Leo needs Hap before taking action. Take out the tracker from his body. When Hapu heard about it, he immediately took action. Removed a part from Leo's back. Then the two of them sneaked into the bank and planned to approach the vault quietly. But the inexperienced Hap accidentally shot, alarmed the enemy. So Leo could only take measures quickly and deal with the robots that will appear soon. Under Leo's cover and urging, Hap asked the colonel for support while leading the hostages out of the bank. But while he rescued several hostages, they found that inside the armored vehicle that came to support only heavily armed combat robots. The two sides immediately fell into a melee. Seeing the hostages being shot to death one by one, Hap quickly called the colonel to send someone to support him, but he soon learned, in order to eliminate the big villain Victor, the military actually ignored the safety of the hostages and Leo, preparing to use drones to raise banks to the ground at the same time. Reasons for chasing code within a bank quickly destroyed 3 battle robots and used super endurance and speed. Caught up with an enemy trying to escape. But just as Leo took the code, US military drones also dropped bombs on banks. Hapu, who was protecting the hostages, was instantly knocked to the ground. When he wakes up again, the streets have turned into scorched earth. And in a trance, he saw Leo coming out of the smoke and dust. After learning that Leo had obtained the code, the disgraced Hapu ordered him to report the matter. But Leo flatly refused. It turns out that Leo's purpose is more than that. The real reason he picked Hapu, in fact, it is to get rid of the control of the military under his guidance. Hap successfully triggered Leo's failsafe command and let him, thus breaking through the barrier of obeying human instructions. And in order to make myself disappear completely, Leo also deliberately asked Hapu to ask for help. When he asked for help, reported the false news that Victor was at the bank. So as the bank was destroyed, Leo, who was performing his mission, also died in the line of duty after this series of operations. After being freed, Leo knocked Hapu unconscious and threw him into an area controlled by the rebels. Hap was captured and soon met Sophia and told Leo's true purpose. But Sophia not only already knew the so-called truth, I also agree with Leo's decision. Because Sophia thinks the source of the chaos is actually the United States. It makes the United States want to use this war to weaken Russia. And Leo will make the United States reflect on everything you have done. At the same time, Leo is acting alone, driving to the secret base of Warlord Victor. And Victor obviously underestimated Leo's strength. He didn't have time to react. Leo quickly cleared away the enemies in the base and got all the information about the nuclear bomb. Although Hap ultimately failed to convince Sophia, but Sophia let Hap go. So, after returning to the base, Hap immediately reported the matter to the colonel, but it seems that Leo has lost control. The colonel then agreed to allow Hap to carry out the operation alone and prevent Leo from launching a nuclear bomb. With help from friends, Hap quickly used his drone to locate Leo's location. And as Leo sailed into Russia, Hapu also got the final positioning information and soon found an abandoned power plant. And Leo, who had no idea about this. The soldiers stationed at the power plant have been eliminated and found where the code is actually installed. But just when Leo was about to start the launch process, Hapu's whereabouts were exposed by his footsteps. So it didn't take long. Hapu was pushed against the wall by Leo, who was already on guard, and after finding that he couldn't convince Leo, Hap chose to shoot. But as Hapu suffocated and fell down, Leo is determined to have his own way, or started the nuclear bomb launch process. And Hap soon woke up to the colonel's call and keep shooting at Leo under heavy firepower. Leo was quickly seriously injured and fell to the ground. Until then, only then did Hapu understand what Leo was really thinking. It turns out that Leo thought the combat robot, developed by the United States, finally will make this world life is ruined. And only by destroying the creators of these robots. Only in the United States can we stop research on fully autonomous cyborgs and move towards the stage of global hegemony, seeing that the launch process cannot be terminated. Hapu immediately reported all the situation to his superiors and requested Bell to launch missiles to intercept, so at the last moment, the drone destroyed the about to be launched nuclear bomb in time, and Hapu finally escaped from death and successfully saved millions of lives.